Today I'm going to tell you about my coursework. The topic of my coursework is linguistic means of static description and their reflection in the Ukrainian translation based on the works of A. Hemingway. Their relevance is due to the need to study in the functioning of linguistic and stylistic means of static description in the works of E. Hemingway, The Old Man and the Sea, and Farewell to Arms, since these works are the most vivid indicator of the writer's personality style. The scientific novelty lies in the fact that the research results reveal the stylistic features of the author's speech, in particular the static description in the work of E. Hemingway, the comparison of the original works of E. Hemingway and the Ukrainian translation with a focus on the techniques of translating stylistic devices in a static description is also new. The object of the study is the static description in the author's speech of E. Hemingway. The subject of the research is linguistic stylistic devices in the static description in the works of E. Hemingway and their reflection in the Ukrainian translation. The material of E. Hemingway's The Old Man and the Sea and Farewell to Arms and the Ukrainian variants. The purpose to the course of work is to study linguistic stylistic means in static description in the works of E. Hemingway and to study the methods of the translation. To achieve the goal, the following tasks were completed. To study linguistic stylistic means of English and Ukrainian languages, to classify means of the expression of the English and Ukrainian languages, interpret the concepts of author's speech and static description, consider the problems of translating artistic texts from English into Ukrainian, determine the features of E. Hemingway's artistic style, to identify linguistic stylistic means of static description used in the works of E. Hemingway. The theoretical significance of the work lies in the fact that the research expands our knowledge about the use of language styles and language expression in English and in translation into Ukrainian. The results of the work are a contribution to the following section of linguistic and linguistics. Text linguistics, text stylistics, linguistic stylistics, interpretation of artistic texts, fundamentals of artistic text translation. The practical significance is the ability to apply the results of research in one's own work on any subject, the ability to identify linguistic stylistic means in the other work, and the application of knowledge about the problem of English-Ukrainian translation of literary works. They are the following groups of stylistic means: lexical, syntactic, lexical and syntactic, phonetic and graphic. The main source of strengthening expression is vocabulary, which provides a full range of linguistic stylistic means: epithets, metaphor, comparison, metonymies, synecdoches, hyperboles, lithos, etc. Syntax, so-called stylistic features of speech, anaphora, antithesis, gradation, inversion, reverse order of word, oxymoron, parallelism, theoretical question, fully enhance the expressiveness of language. A trope is a method of expressiveness that is implemented at the level of word or phrase. A word used in a figurative sense to characterize any phenomenon with the help of secondary semantic values, the actualization of its inner work. The main source of strengthening expression, the iceberg principle, is a conceptual artist method of depicting events in which only a small amount of information necessary for understanding the idea of the work is contained on the surface of the work. Artistic style is a style of fiction that is used in poetic and artistic creativity. The leading task of the artistic style is to influence the human face, feelings, and thoughts through the content and form of the poetic and prose text created by the authors. Literary translation is a real art because the aesthetic effect is achieved by appropriate language means, in particular rhythm, rhyme, and alliteration. The object of a static description can be both a subject and a process. Static description is widespread in all spheres of human life. Examples of static can be description of machines, equipment, test equipment in description of work of art, human appearance, landscape. In static, the immobility of an object or the readability of a process comes to the fore. A translation of artist's works must comply with the following basis requirements: accuracy, conciseness, clarity, literature. And is the first example. He had very wavy hair, a high forehead, excited and friendly eyes, and a delicate long-lipped Irish mouth. His chin was well built, and he had good ears and a handsome, almost beautiful, unmarked nose. Він мав дуже гарне хвилеподібне волосся, високе чоло, збуджені і дружні очі, а також тонкі ірландські губи. Його підборіддя було дуже добре складено, він мав гарні вуха і красивий, майже бездоганний непомітний ніс. The author of the novel Farewell to Arms uses a static description. The largest number of landscapes in the analyzed novel are static images of nature. The example is: the water was a dark blue now, so dark that it was almost purple. As he looked down into it, he saw the red sifting of the plankton in the dark water and the strange light the sun made now. Тепер вода була темно-синьою, настільки темною, що майже фіолетова. Дивлячись вниз, він побачив червоне просіювання планктону в темній воді і дивне світло. So it's some examples of English version, so original and Ukrainian version. So translation. He looked at the sky and saw the bright cumulus built like friendly piles of ice cream. Він подивився на небо і побачив білі купчасті хмари, подібні до накладених одна на одну апетитних куляк морозива. I fell asleep. It was raining hard outside the window. Мене хилило на сон, за вікном вперто лив дощ. The mirrored flecks of the plankton were annulled now by the high sun. It was only the great deep prism in the blue water that the old man saw now, but with his lines going straight down into the water that was a mile deep. Міріади порушеного планктону немовби розчинилися у світлі сонця, що стояло вже високо у небі, і тепер, крім своїх жилок, що прямовисно йшли в глибичині, яка сягала тут доброї милі, бачив у синій воді тільки далекі квіти з лунного сонячного проміння. So we can see the difference between original version in English and the Ukrainian version. So the next is an epithet is a word that expresses a phenomenon and any of its features, qualities, or scenes in the subject. An epithet is an artistic definition, colorful, which reinforces some of its distinctive features is a certain word. Example. Everything about him was old except his eyes, and they were the same colorful color of the sea and were cheerful and undefeated. Все в нього було старе, крім очей, а очі були кольором схожі на море, веселі очі людини, яка не здається. This is a rotten game we play, isn't it? Це гнила гра, в яку ми граємо, чи не так? A similar is a trope that consists in explaining one subject in terms of another similar to it. His eyes always burned and sparkled fire as a reflected sunbeams in the sea, as a reflection of tears on the sun. Його очі завжди горіли, як вогонь, як промені сонця в морі. You sleep like a little boy with your arm around the pillow and eyes against me. Ти спиш, як маленький хлопчик, обіймаючи подушку і думаєш, що це я. Metaphor is a artistic means that consists in transferring the features of one object or phenomenon to another based on their similarity. The pants were torn on the skin was based. Штани були розірвані та шкіра здерта, як кора з дерева. Why did they make birds so delicate and fine as those sea shadows, swallows? when the ocean can be so cruel. Чому вони зробили птахів такими витонченими і чудовими, як ті морські ластівки, коли океан може бути таким жорстоким?